Well, good morning. I'm standing at Circular Quay on a sunny Sydney day. This is the site where the first British settlers arrived in Australia to set up a colony in 1788. At that time, the area was known as Sydney Cove, and it was selected because of its fine harbour and mooring facilities. As we turn around, you can see the Sydney Opera House in the distance, and we're also visited by the Norwegian Jewel cruise ship in port this morning. Over here we have the Museum of Modern Art, and today we're going to be travelling in this direction towards the southern end of the Harbour Bridge. This is an area of historic importance known as the Rocks. Here you can see a statue to William Bligh, who was the Governor of New South Wales. William Bligh is the famous Captain Bligh, known for the mutiny on the Bounty. And over there you can see one of the original convict-built stone cottages made of Sydney sandstone. This is John Cadman's cottage. John Cadman was the last and longest serving superintendent of government boats and lived in this cottage from 1827 to 1845. Now this is George Street. Right here we have the Orient Hotel, established in 1844, and I used to frequent this hotel when I was younger, of a Friday night after work, to watch live bands being played. Along the street you'll see more sandstone buildings. All these sandstone buildings were built by convicts in the first years of the colony. Another famous hotel, the Observer Hotel, dating back to the 1800s. Here are some more historical sandstone buildings built in the late 1800s. All these buildings are subject to heritage preservation orders. This is a little cul-de-sac in the Rocks with some very old historical hotels and early residences. These old cottages are collectively known as the Argyle Terrace, dating from 1875 to 1877. As we continue along George Street, we're slowly making our way towards the southern end of the Harbour Bridge. So we're now at the southern end of the Harbour Bridge, and as I pan upwards you can see the roadway of the bridge overhead. So this end of the Harbour Bridge is known as Dawes Point. I'm now standing right beside the pillar of the south end of the Harbour Bridge, in an area of historical interest that was known as Dawes Point Battery. Now, this site was the site of a fortification built around 1840 when the colony was fearful of an invasion by the Germans or the French. So it was decided to build a battery here, and you can see one of the original cannons in the background, because obviously the bridge wasn't here at this time, and this elevated area provided a good vantage point to fire on any vessels attempting to enter Sydney Cove. Before us here we have an area known as Pier 1. Now these were jetties and warehouses built during the early 1900s for ships to unload all their cargo. They have now been turned into restaurants and upmarket apartments. It is just beautiful here. These fabulous 150-year-old oak trees. It's a bright sunny day. The water is sparkling on the harbour. You couldn't ask for better. Here we have a clear view of the harbour, all the way from Nelson's Point, which is on the northern side of the harbour bridge, to Kirribilli, down to Neutral Bay, then across to Fort Denison, and around to the Opera House, of course. I'm now commencing my journey back to Circular Quay along the foreshore of Circular Quay. This is looking back at the way that we came, and Dawes Point Battery is up the top there. In the background you can see what were formerly warehouses. Nowadays they've been turned into fine dining restaurants. You can see the cruise terminal ahead of us here, but the ship's still docked. I noticed that there was another ship waiting out in the harbour, ready to come in and take this ship's place. It will probably be departing around 6 o'clock tonight. The building on the end was built in 1819 and was actually the first bank built in Australia. At that time it was known as Campbell's Bank. And we have some more historical buildings just here. All these buildings are heritage protected. Well, here we are, back at Circular Quay, where the adventure began. I hope you've enjoyed our little journey this morning, and perhaps you've learnt a little bit about the history of Sydney. Anyway, that's it for now. Bye-bye.